hard to understand the concept of censorship when we have so many options for news. There are hundreds of TV stations, newspapers, and radio shows. But the truth is that almost every avenue from which we get our information in the mainstream media is controlled by only 6 corporations that have one specific interest: profit. News censorship is happening every day, but not necessarily from the top down blacking out the stories, but also in the form of self-censorship, framing, backpaging, all to protect the interests of those corporate conglomerates. So who are the big 6 corporations that control nearly everything you see, hear, and read? First, there's Comcast, formerly owned by GE, which controls MSNBC, NBC, and Telemundo. And there's Disney, which owns ABC, the History Channel, and and ESPN. Next, Viacom, the parent company of MTV, Paramount, and BET. And CBS, with all its affiliates. And there's News Corp, which owns Fox News, the New York Post, and the Wall Street Journal. And finally, Time Warner, the parent company of CNN, Time, and People magazine, as well as Warner Brothers. So what impact does it have when an agency that's supposed to serve as a watchdog for the powerful becomes a lapdog for the powerful? To break down some of the most egregious cases of censorship and conflicts of interest in the corporate media, BTS producer Manuel Rapalo.
Hi, Abby. How's it going?
Hi, what's going on? So,
Good.
You know, when I think of the top-down censorship, kind of the hand of the corporation blacking out a story, 2 cases come to mind that are the most egregious. The first one was News Corp. Fox News was going to air a story on the bovine growth hormone, BGH, bovine growth hormone, of course, another Monsanto case of censorship where they were invested in Monsanto for advertising, and their boss said no when a team of Fox investigative reporters wanted to cover this story. Monsanto threatened the station, sent them a letter saying there will be dire consequences, this is a direct quote, dire consequences for Fox News if the story is aired, and I wanted to play what happened when they confronted their boss about this.
I said, you know, this is news. This is important. This is stuff people need to know. And I'll never forget, he didn't pause a beat, and he said, we just paid $3 billion for these television stations. We'll tell you what the news is. The news is what we say it is.
So really, I mean, you know, you look at this case, and it's such an egregious case of censorship, and really he's saying, we'll tell you what the news is. The news is whatever we want it to be. The news is whatever our advertisers want it to be.
No, it's not just, when it comes to the media, really, it's not just the parent companies. It's also your corporate sponsors. It's also the people that are putting out the ads. I mean, Monsanto, had this story actually aired, would have probably pulled their advertisement for Roundup, for aspartame, and all those other products that again aren't tested, but advertise all over Fox News. And it's really interesting that you point out this story, because the reporters and that guy that you just played, they actually countersued against Fox under Florida's whistleblower statute. And as it turns out, under Florida law, they lost that lawsuit because turns out it's not illegal to falsify the news. So I mean, that really should give you an idea of how dangerous this is and how powerful Monsanto is. Like, they've been doing this for...
Yeah, they've been doing this for the past 10 years. Once again, another labeling issue. We're seeing Monsanto censoring stories. You also were researching a story about ABC.
Sure. This is just another one of those examples. Back in 1998, kind of a very clear-cut example. ABC was 2020, they were going to air this story about how Disneyland is actually hiring pedophiles. I mean, it's just a crazy story. You're thinking a theme park for kids, and pedophiles just sounds terrible. They weren't able to pull the story. Why? Because Disney owns ABC. It's very clear-cut. You don't want to endanger or make the corporate interests look bad. So I mean, that's one of those clear-cut stories, but I mean, it also raises questions. That one's relatively easy, not to downplay pedophiles, but when you look at cases like CNN's running a story about the BP oil spill, the Deepwater Horizon spill, about the cleanup efforts and how, things are getting better, and as soon as the segment's over, you see a commercial come on, and it's BP, and it's BP representatives going, come down to the coast and eat some one-eyed shrimp or whatever they're doing. I mean, there's a problem in there, and it's so obvious, but I think people don't realize it as much as it's in your face.
They don't realize it, but Project Censored, one of the greatest research organizations in the country about censorship in the media, did a study where they found that 118 people only sit on 288 corporate boards that unify kind of this media conglomerate and corporate America. So you have people involved in Kraft Foods, Monsanto, so many different things, defense corporations, the pharmaceutical industry, lobbying together, all sitting on these boards, and it really is such a small amount of people really controlling all these things from the top down.
It's 6
What are some of the
corporations.
most shocking things that you found in terms of just conflicts of interest?
I was looking at this, and when we're looking at conflict of interest, there's two things that really need to be pointed out. It's not just corporations. A lot of execs that sit in corporations and you said it in your introduction, they're sitting on, for example, NBC, Citigroup, Exxon, Philip Morris. Their execs sit on board of directors for Philip Morris. That's not okay. CBS has board members sitting in Walmart, General Dynamics. These are drone manufacturers. The execs for CBS are the same guys that are sitting in the board of directors for drone manufacturers?
And I think
how is that okay?
And I think when people think of the corporate media, they're like, oh, well, of course, the corporate media. But really, we're talking about NPR and PBS as well. I mean, NPR was running a story during the BP oil spill featuring a scientist that was talking about how oil was in the Gulf that would bacteria that would eat the oil. It was like, well, this bacteria is just going to clean up the oil itself. We don't have to worry about anything. Turns out later, according to Greg Palast, the scientist interviewed about the story was given $500 million,
exactly.
dollars from BP. NPR never mentioned this detail, this quaint detail, when they were doing the story, and of course we saw PBS.
The thing about that, the money that, I mean, we're talking about one guy that received $500 million. That money, that money actually spread out. It was more like a money spill, is what Greg Palast said in that report that he did. So you've got all these universities, all these independent researchers all over the country doing research on oil biology, and they're all being funded by BP.
And PBS aired the drone documentary by Lockheed Martin, pretty much a promo for drones. And you know, us talking about all this really calls into question. The U.S. State Department issued a warning about restricted press freedom in the rest of the world, meanwhile ignoring that the consolidation of 90% of the U.S. media by 6 corporations. I mean, really, we're ranked 32 in the world in press freedom here.
And exactly, and I know that we had an infographic somewhere. I wonder if we can pull it up. If not, it shows, you know, between 1983 and now, you're gone from this like multitude of media organizations in the country and really narrowing it down to 6. 6 that control nearly everything that we see and watch in this country, everything that we see and watch. And these organizations, they're also making political contributions. So, you know, they're throwing money into both sides of the equation, Democrats and Republicans, and they get back those special connections and inside information, turning you know, talking points into news.
Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone, and salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the 4 corners of the earth. Now, what you just seen is pretty much the truth behind the corporate media and everything to what you read, watch, and hear, when it comes to radios, television, or newspaper. All right. And with that being said, Americans are waking up to this, and they're seeing, that they're being literally led by, a few individuals, with this information. So I just found a couple of articles recently that just came out a couple of days, just proving that the average American, aka Babylonian or Babylon citizen, is waking up to the lies. Mostly it's Esau and these other nations. You 2/3, you so-called black, Spanish, and Native Americans, you guys are and you women are just lost in the sauce because you're just simple and stupid. But mainly the Edomites, they're waking up to this because these pollings are pretty much conducted by going to mainly Esau's people. So it says right here, Americans have lost faith in pretty much everything. The people of the United States have pretty much had it with the country's major institutions, as faith in everything from the banks and newspapers to organized religion and TV news has taken a big hit in recent years, according to a recent Gallup poll. All right. And there's the chart. It goes on and says, as Gallup Jim Norman explains, quote, Americans clearly lack confidence in the institutions that affect their daily lives. The schools responsible for educating the nation's children. The houses of worship that are expected to provide spiritual guidance. Because there ain't no spiritual guidance in those churches. is they're spiritually dead. Okay? The banks that are supposed to protect America's earnings, which anybody who's been paying attention to the money system know these banks are not in for your best interests. The U.S. Congress elected to represent the nation's interests. Obviously, this is not happening at all. And the news media that claims it exists to keep them informed. And as you could see, okay, people are not trusting the news media at all. Okay, especially with this video that I just put out, that I just showed, that it's the mainstream media, the news corporations are literally telling the people what they should know and not what they need to know. All right. It goes on and says, in 2016, Americans have lost confidence at 10 of 14 major institutions. The banks, understandably, have taken the brunt of it, with the percentage of those having a great deal or quite a loss of confidence dropping from 49% to 27% since 2006. Now, why is that? Because in 2008, that's when the housing bubble crisis kicked off. All right, and everybody lost their homes and they lost their jobs. Organized religion endured the scandals of Catholic Church to drop from 52% to 41%, while newspaper declined by 10 percentage points to hit an all-time low. Television news and Congress both saw their confidence ratings drop by double digits as well. All right. And so this is the chart that they're showing. Of course, you'll see the military and police are the only one that people have confidence in, because those that rule by the gun, people fear. All right. And there you go. But that's about to change, because I'm going to show you a new recent article that came out after that that inside job, that false flag that happened in Orlando. As you can see, church, organized religion, medical system, people lost confidence in presidency. Okay, they lost confidence in public schools, banks. Okay, just go all the way down to even criminal justice, which people, Jake, you should wake up and know the criminal justice is against you. All right. And look, right down here, big business. Big business, which are the corporations, and as well as Congress. All right. So nobody, and that's where it is. All right. So that's one article. So let me get a quick, so what's about to happen? Well, all hell's about to break loose, because if people are losing confidence in these institutions, okay, then that means that, they're going to rise up. And that means, okay, there's an old saying, live by the gun, die by the gun. And that's what's about to happen. So this is the book of Zechariah, chapter 14, verse 13. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that a great tumult from the Lord shall be among them. Okay, so the Lord's doing this in actuality. Yeah, right now, if you look at it carnally, it's the elite, the Illuminati, right? Jesuit order, the Freemasons, all these guys. But they're working the left-hand side, all right? Because really the Most High, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, okay, laying it down the foundation and really causing all this tumult, because prophecy must be fulfilled. And they shall continue on, and they shall lay hold everyone on the hand of his neighbor, and his hand shall rise up against the hand of his neighbor. And you're seeing that. You're seeing it right now. If you go turn on your local news media, there's, sedition amongst people in terms of race, classes, as well as gender. All right, you got gay ISIS members shooting up a gay club, and that's funny. That's a freaking hilarious event. Okay, anybody that's not laughing at that just really is not spiritual, because that is a straight up, okay, false flag. All right. So let me get to another article. Right. Let me get to why people are going to cause a tumult, and a neighbor's going to rise against neighbor. This is from New York Daily News. It says gun stocks shoot upward after Orlando shooting. Okay, shares of gun makers shot up Monday as investors anticipated a new wave of weapons purchase in the aftermath of the deadliest mass shooting in the U.S. history. Okay, so here you see shares of Smith & Wesson Holding Corp., which makes an array of pistols and revolvers, rose nearly 7% Monday. Okay, Ruger. Okay, all right. So why is this happening? All right, let's get to the meat. It says gun stocks typically soar following mass shootings as investors bet that gun owners will buy up more weapons in anticipation of the passage of laws that will curtail their ability to make such purchase in the future. See, so you having the average American peon, he's like, oh, I don't trust this government. They're gonna take away my guns. And so every time there's a false flag, an incident, a shooting incident, more and more Americans, mainly Edomites, because a lot of you Jakes, man, all right, you're not out there buying guns like Esau's doing. You're out there doing it illegally, either buying what do we call it in the hood? Throwaways, okay? That's what y'all buying. You're buying throwaways, okay? Serial numbers etched off on the pistol, okay? So on and so forth. So let's get another scripture. Salakia. It's right here. It says, "Woe to the world." This is 2nd Esdras, chapter 15, verse 14. It says, "Woe to the world and them that dwell therein." This is the Lord saying this, because all hell's about to break loose here in America. All right. Verse 15. "For the sword and the destruction doeth nigh." And what's the modern day sword? The gun, the rifle, okay, the pistol, okay. "And one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands." And that's what you're about to see in Babylon, America. Okay, that's why you so-called black Spanish and Native Americans, you need to wake up to your true power, Yahweh Shem Yahushai, and come back to your true nationality and follow the Holy Bible, because all hell's about to break loose here. All right. Verse 16. "For there shall be sedition among men," okay, "and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings." That's right. They're not listening to Obama. All right. They're not listening to Congress. They're not listening to the Senate. All right, they're not listening to the mayors. They're not listening, okay, all right, to none of these political officials, nor princes, and a quarter of their actions shall stand in their power. That's right, because they're going to think they're God. All right. So let's get to another news article. All right. It says right here. This is from the same thing. It says 80% of Americans think government, banks, corporate media are corrupt. All right. And this came out June 14th of 2016. Same article, but I want to get to the point at the end. It says the breakdown in public trust in the bedrock institutions, this is what I'm reading, of America's society will present a major challenge for the country's next president and leave the governing structure on a vulnerable foundation at a time when the wealthy are celebrating economic resurgence that is yet to be felt by Main Street. All right. So why is that? You know, because the Lord is not dealing with these nations. Okay. All right. The Lord is not dealing with Clinton, Hillary Clinton on the right hand side. He's only dealing with it on the left hand side, meaning they're gonna be doing more wickedness. All right. So let me get a scripture to prove that the Lord's not there. Okay. It says right here, Hosea 8:4. They have set up kings. Who are these kings? Okay. And this is talking about mainly Israel at the time, you know, Northern Kingdom, but you could pertain this now. They have set up kings, but not by me. The Lord didn't set up Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton to do the righteous act, to follow the law, statutes, and commandments. No, he didn't. They have made princesses, and I knew it not. That's right. All right. Your modern day princes, all right? You're talking about these corporations, okay? These news conglomerates, all right? Salakia. The princes are really your Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. Your kings are your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers who control the corporate media, okay? Salakia, all right? "And I knew it not. Of their silver and their gold have they made them idols, that they may be cut off." And they are about to be cut off, because the Lord is about to bring judgment, okay, into this facility. All right, into this institutions, in these institutions, because all these institutions are corrupt, and that's why this title is going to be America, aka Babylon citizens, are losing faith in their institutions. All right, so there's about to be people acting like God, and in fact, let me get a scripture to prove that case, because people are going to start acting like they're God, and they're going to take the authority and judgment in their own hand. Okay, Ezekiel 28:9. Yeah, here we go. This is what's going on, because you got a lot of people thinking they're God, but really the man with the sword in his hand is. This Ezekiel 28:9. "Wilt thou yet say before him that slayeth thee, I am God?" That's right, because right now You know, you got people that don't even believe in the Most High. They believe in themselves. They think they're God. So they're going to take their own action into their own power, according to 2nd Esdras chapter 15, verse 16. And their course of their actions shall stand in their power. So you're going to have individuals that, you know, are going to be thinking they have the power in their own hand. So it goes on and says, Ezekiel 28, verse 9, Wilt thou yet say before him that slaved thee, I am God? But thou shalt be a man and no God in the hand of him that slaved thee. That's right. Because the man with the gun is considered God at that point in time. Why is that? Because the man with the gun has your life in his hand. So that's what you're about to see. Okay? And you 2/3, you so-called blacks, Spanish, and Native Americans that don't want to get right to your true power, okay, that don't want to come back to the true nationality, you're going to be slaughtered by these Edomites, because these Edomites ain't playing games. They know that their government's corrupt, straight up. And with that, all right, I want to give all praise and glory to Yahweh, Bahashim, Yahweh Shai, double honors to the apostles of Great Millstone who rule well, and salutation to the Akim out there pushing this truth and sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And with that, death to America. Shalom.